Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 460 of Ink in Your Veins. And today I am so excited to be with AJ Harper. I have been dying about this episode. I have been frantic to release it. I was frantic to get her on the show after I read her book, Write a Must Read. And it is just one of my favorite episodes in a long, long time. And I have lots of favorite episodes. Favorite is a tier, just like best friend is a tier. But this is really, really favorite. And AJ is a freaking delight and a genius. So do not miss this one. It's going to blow your mind. What's been going on around here? I'm going to go so fast because my sister's still in town. So all three sisters are together and we're doing lots of things. And it's a very stormy day in Wellington today. Winds are gusting at over 100 kilometers per hour, which is always fun. And I mean that. I love the sound of the wind. And I don't know what we're going to do to play today, but we might drive up to this town where we've heard there are really good pies. And I mean, savory pies, because that's what they do here, not sweet pies. And filled with like tin spaghetti and powa and oh, what other things were in there? They just sound amazing and gourmet, but also blue collar gourmet. I'm there. So that's what we're going to do. So this will be quick. What's going on? Let's see. I needed to tell you something. Oh, yes. Ed, my assistant, would like me to tell you that my knitting romances, there are 5 of them. The Cypress Hollow yarns. The first one is Abigail's Shop. They are all on KU. They are 5 full-length novels, and I think the novella, Eliza's Home, is also on KU. I'm taking them off KU. So September 12th, 2024, they will no longer be in KU. If you want to download them all now, though, apparently you can download them before they leave KU, and then you'd have 5.5 books. If you like knitting, if you like romance, or if you don't like knitting, but you do like romance, don't download them if you don't like romance. There's no reason for that, but they are spicy. There's sex on the page, and I love those books. And I'm taking them off of KU so that I can then put them up on Shopify and sell them in a bundle, etc. I know Ed is allowing me to try this experiment, but I just hit 2 million page reads because Ed keeps track of these things. So thank you, Ed, for telling me that's super exciting. And I promise if I don't make the Shopify thing work the way that we wanted to, you can have them back to put them on KU, or I'll give you another series. Thank you, Ed, my assistant and friend, for being so amazing. So please go grab those on KU if you are a member of Kindle Unlimited and you want to read 5.5 books for free. Do it. The only other thing is I am recording this on, when are you going to get this? You're going to get this on August 29th. There is 1 spot left in revision, 90-day revision, and there are 2 spots left in 90 days to done. Go to rachelherron.com and look at the writing tab. If you are interested in that, this is your last call. I will not be offering these classes again until I don't know when, probably mid 2025. But we will keep an eye on that. And I would love to have you if you want to be in there. And also, if you don't want to be in there but just want to hear me talk about writing, do sign up for my mailing list because I just sent a really good one on the myths of writing and how not to fall for them. And I think if you sign up for the writing list, you'll be able to look at the archive of them too. That's over at rachelherron.com/write. You can get to that subscription mailing list. Please be on it because I tell you everything I know, everything I think of. And I've been getting a lot of really lovely emails back saying, thank you. This is exactly what I needed. Thank you. This was where I was stuck. So I love sending those emails. Please be on that. That's totally free, 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 free. Always will be. And that's all I got to tell you because I want to tell you about AJ Harper, who is an editor and publishing strategist who helps authors write foundational books that enable them to build readership, grow their brand, and make a significant impact on the world. As ghostwriter and as developmental editor, she has worked with newbies from New York Times bestselling authors with millions of books sold. AJ is writing partner to business author Mike Michalowicz, and together they've written 6 books, including the amazing Profit First, The Pumpkin Plan, and their latest, Fix This Next, which is what I'm working through right now, and I'm loving it. Through her top 3 book workshops and retreats, AJ empowers authors with insider publishing knowledge and guides them through book development, writing, and editing. And She's so great. Her book, Write a Must Read, is something you must get. Oh, I left off part of the bio. AJ lives with her wife and son in New York's Lower Hudson Valley. So, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you that you have this to look forward to. Here you go. Let's talk to AJ. And please, my friends, get some of your own writing done and then come tell me about it. I would love to hear. All right, here we go. I could not be more pleased to welcome this guest to the show. Will you please share your name and your pronouns with us?
AJ Harper, she, her.
Thank you, AJ. I am such a huge fan of your book, which I just want to make sure that I get the title exactly right because I always say it wrong. Write a must read, craft a book that changes lives, including your own, which I don't even know how I heard about it. It may have been somebody like Tiffany Yates Martin mentioning it, but I picked it up. I have all of the writing books, right? Most people have all the writing books. We
Yeah.
have all we buy them. I read them most of the time, and I'm really happy just because I enjoy reading them. And I'm really happy if I take a nugget or two of wisdom out of them. But I've read all of them and I've reread all of them, and I've been doing this for a very long time. And I opened your book, great cover, great title, and started to read the first words. And I'm not kidding. I was like, "Oh, this is my new best friend. This is who this is." This is whose voice I want in my ear. And you instantly got my trust by talking about how to write a must read. I'm going to let you talk, I swear. I just got a fangirl for a moment. Um, but the cool thing about this book is it is so meta. Like you're talking about how to write a must read while making the reader the most important person in the room. And you're doing it in the book. Even I can't remember if you pointed out or if it's just obvious where you're saying, do this in the beginning. I'm like, oh yeah, no, AJ just did that. I just saw an example of that. Can you talk to us about what that structuring of this book looked like and felt like?
So first of all, I'm so excited to be here because can I just tell that you sent, can I tell this part?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, absolutely. Please.
So I was listening to your podcast.
I forgot this.
Uh, yeah, because I do a lot of driving when I'm visiting my mom in Wisconsin. I live in New York, but it's a long drive out to where her nursing home. And so I have like why do we have podcast to-do lists now? But I have podcast to-do lists. You know what I'm talking about, right?
100,000%. Yes.
Yeah, so I put them in my notes app so I can just click on it while I'm driving and listen to the next one. And I started listening to you on a different podcast. I can't remember it now. And then I was so excited because you were transparent about all your numbers and you were talking about multiple streams of income. And this is a core value I have as a creator. Is I think we can't have our eggs in one basket.
Amen.
So that's when I started listening to your podcast. And then I found your email. I had neglected to see it before. And so I was so excited because I was like, I wonder if I could talk to her. And then you were already wanting to talk to me.
And listeners, I did something that I may have done this twice or three times in my life. And it's never gone, like it's never had the result I wanted it to, obviously. But to AJ, I sent an email and I tried to court you to come on the show. And then after I hadn't heard for a couple months, I pinged back, but I pinged back with the whole like I'm going to ask you this again just in case it went to spam. But if you're ignoring me because this didn't go to spam and you don't want to talk to me, we can pretend this never happened. Just delete it. If we ever meet in person, I'll never bring it up. And you wrote back saying, yeah, I want to be on your show.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that email, but
Oh, I
um
love that I was naggy about this one.
yeah, I'm so excited about this right now, this conversation. So anyway, thank you for having me. It's
You're
it's
welcome.
it's really nice to
Welcome.
be there. I I wrote write a must read. I wasn't going to write it because uh, I've been asked for a long time, when will you write a book about writing? And I would always say that would be never, because as a former ghostwriter, I don't know, I just felt like um I don't know, I wanted to be write a book that maybe fiction or something. I didn't want the book that had finally had my name on it, 'cause a lot of books that I wrote that don't have my name on them,
Mhm.
to be a book about a book about writing. But then, I teach this class, this workshop, and I only take, now it used to be only 30 students a year, and now it's only 15. And so I thought, "Oh, this is so elitist," because you know it works, and
Yeah.
so you're not making this useful and available to people. And so then I decided, okay, you're gonna have to do it, because this way a person who can't take your class can at
Mm,
least learn from you. And I always say, if they have 27 bucks or their library card, that they could go ahead and learn this. So that's why I wrote it.
I
But the
love
meta
that.
part, I mean, a lot of it is just based on what I teach in the workshop. Um, so structure wise, some of it's super easy, right? Because I'm teaching this sequence kind of the same way I follow it in the workshop. Um, but in terms of the meta part, I mean, that just happens. I think I say right in the book, I'm doing the thing that I'm teaching you how to do if you pay
Maybe you
close
do. Yeah.
attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's I do think structure wise, I'm a little different in that I really emphasize development and editing, and the writing part is only 2 chapters.
I
So the
love
rest
that.
of the book
Yes.
is heavy on development and heavy on editing. And I think that's, I believe that. I've listened to your podcast enough to know you also believe,
Hmm.
just get the clay on the table. Just get the clay on the table. We can make a sculpture out of that. But so I don't know. Does that answer your question about structure? I mean, I
Yes.
feel like it follows the
Perfect.
workshop. So
And you you instantly got my attention and my interest and my respect just by the writing itself and the concepts within the book, but also the fact that I don't know how to say his name. How do you say Mike's name? Mike
Michalowicz.
Michalowicz. Okay, I'd never heard it said out loud. Mike Michalowicz and you wrote Profit First and a bunch of other books that are related. And First is one of those business books. I also buy all the business books and I read all the business books and I do nothing. Profit First with the engine of your voice behind it is something I do now. I don't do it twice a month like he says to do, but I do it once a month. It's called Profit First. It's the 25th of the month. I do everything from that book and I go through,
Yay.
like, it's life changing. So can you talk to us a little bit about this concept that you have of a book? And we're really talking, when we're talking about this, we're really talking about nonfiction. We're not
Mhm.
talking about a novel. You're not structuring your novel this way, but can you talk to us about making the reader on the other end of the book? Who is the reader in terms of what we're doing with these must reads that we're writing?
Who is the well, it's different for everybody. I mean, so Profit First, thank you for saying my voice, but it's really Mike's. I just know how to be Mike. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Um, you know, I just believe, and I honestly, as a ghostwriter, I didn't know what I was doing initially. And so everything I know about it is because I think honestly, I think it's because I have OCD. And I'll
Hmm.
just explain why, if that's
Tell me.
okay.
Oh, yes, I
I
would
know
love
this
that.
now, but I worry. So I'm a checker. So that's the kind of OCD I have, is I just want to make sure. So I'm the person who's always, did I lock the door? I don't know. Did I lock the
Yeah.
door? Is the coffee pot off?
Yeah.
Uh, so for me, that translates when I first started writing prescriptive nonfiction. I well, how isn't this supposed to do something for the reader? Him out here by myself in my Brooklyn apartment with my baby, just like trying to take taking any job I could get, and then freaking out because I thought, well, wait a minute, how do I know that they're going to get the thing they want? How
Mhm.
do I know that this is going to work? What if they don't understand this? And so I'm asking all these questions because I'm a checker. S- What I didn't know is that most authors weren't asking these questions. So I stumbled into it due to mental health issues around trying to get it right. And I'm grateful I did, because I built my whole methodology, which we shorthand call reader first. Nothing to do with profit first, I promise.
I
But
did
it's just,
actually, I'd never put the two together. Yeah.
yeah,
Reader first.
it's just that everything comes from understanding the reader and not an avatar. let's not a big old character. It's not like if you were doing a character study or a character Bible for a novel. Really, really simple, but you know what? This is why I'm so excited partly to be on the show. It can't comes from character development that I came up with it, because I was a playwright before I wrote, books. I was a playwright for
Whoa.
15 years, and so I didn't know what else to do. So I just thought, "Okay, I know that I have to know the reader." So if I were writing a play, I would have to know what they want and what's standing in the way, external and internal blocks,
Yeah.
right? So
That's
I would
mind
have
blowing. Yeah.
so I applied it. You're the only person right so far that even gets me with this right now, because normally I'm in the nonfiction world, right?
Right. 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 Right.
And they're like, okay, and they're nodding, but you totally get it. So
My mind just blew. Yeah. Because
so
we talk about character arc and the writer is the character doesn't know when they're in a novel that their life is about to be changed. The author is the one that knows behind the scenes how they want to change the character. And as the author of prescriptive nonfiction, you're thinking about that character. How do I want to change? How do I want the reader to be able to change?
yes. And if you were writing a novel, you would also know that you have to be able to articulate
Yeah.
and have an understanding of the character's perception of what they want and the character's perception of the problem, in addition to what they really want and what the real problem is.
It's the internal change versus the external change. It's like this is all
Yes.
oh my gosh.
This is where it all comes from. Now you know my secret sauce. I didn't know what else to do. It's not because I'm a genius or anything. It's because I was out there
It's
trying to
that
make a
too.
living, right? I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
I was so worried I was getting it wrong. What I didn't know is that no one was looking at it. And I've since come to understand people don't know how to talk about their readers outside of these avatars and in these general terms. And
Mhm.
you have to, I call it, I shorthand it to hearts and minds, but it's basically, what do they want? What do they think is standing in the way? What do you think is standing in the way? And that's sort of how it goes. That comes from character. When you know that, then it's so much easier to connect with the reader, and it's so much easier to make decisions about what content goes in the book and where.
It is so much easier. And what I love too about your book is another thing that I have I've made a religion of avoiding, like workshop questions or workbook questions that authors write in writing book. I'm not going to do that. I can do it in my head in 1 second. I don't need to write it down. But you ask these questions in each chapter that when answered is it's one of those magic things where I look at it, I go, I know the answer. And then I start writing down, I start writing it down. I'm like, nope, I don't know the answer. And I really need to think harder because I thought I knew what I was doing with this particular section or this particular idea of the book. And asking these questions allows us to really, really think about the reader in such a deep way. What has been some of your favorite feedback that you've gotten since this book has been out there?
Oh, wow. You know, I think the best thing is when a person tells me, and I do actually hear this often, I the longest duration was 10 years, but I hear I was trying to write my book for X years, so 10 is the longest. Then I read your book and now suddenly I can do it. And that's all I want. All I want is for people to be able to do it. But more than that, I want people to be able to write the book that they envision. And somewhere
Mhm.
along the way, they start making a series of compromises about what. So they want it to be this beautiful thing and they want this magnificent change to occur for their readers. But then like we are every day racked with anxiety about our writing. It just is.
Mhm.
And we just all that happens is someone like you or me with experience is better at managing it. But it's not like we kill it. They
It
don't
doesn't go away. In
never
some
goes
ways, it
away.
grows a little bit more strong and more interesting in
Yeah,
developed ways.
it's
You know?
wily. It's wily. Um, but they start just making one compromise after another. Shortcuts, templates, formulas. I'll just do this, I'll just do that. Until finally it's not what they envisioned at all. And I actually have a I what's I think is I've found to be kind of controversial belief, that I don't really think that the talent matters here. I think it does matter with fiction. I think fiction is another animal, but when it comes to prescriptive nonfiction, as long as you have the goods, meaning you know you can help. So that's all that means. You know you can help. You have evidence that you can help. It's just craft. So you can learn that. And but we hear this messaging from our industry and well, parts of our industry that says just this, just. And then you end up with a book that you not only is no one reading it, but you don't necessarily want to read it.
You're
And
not excited about it. This isn't
no.
your message. It just occurred to me that we should probably define what prescriptive nonfiction is.
Yeah, so I'm gonna help you make something better. So
Yeah. I love that.
your business, your body, your relationship, your love life, your spirit, your meditation practice, whatever.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
not memoir, which is more related to fiction in terms of story structure, character arc. Um, what would you say to memoirists who want to
Yeah.
put this kind of stuff into practice?
I do have memoirists in my workshop. So obviously there's teaching and hybrid memoir, and it does apply there.
Absolutely.
Uh,
So hybrid memoir is where people are talking, they have a way to help the reader, but they're also talking oftentimes quite deeply about their own personal experience in a memoir-like way.
yes, and they might have how to, they might have just straight on messaging and know how to. They might incorporate research. It just kind of depends. It's a grab bag. Who knows what the next term is going to be for this kind of
There,
memoir?
it always
Whatever.
seems like there's so many terms. If you've heard other terms, listeners, that's because there's always more popping off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, are you speaking directly to the reader and in an instructive way or inspirational way versus just telling the story?
That's a
So,
really great, succinct way to figure out what it is that you're writing. Are you giving them lists, to try this or encouragement and advice, or are you telling your story in a past tense,
so
normally version?
yeah.
Simplified. This is very simplified.
Yeah, but I will say, actually, I argue that you can still apply the same methodology up to a point. So you can apply the book fundamentals I talk about, which is reader, core message, and promise, and even some of the work on outline building that I talk about. And I do it with my students because, a memoir, people get so stuck on structure and what part of their story to tell. If, on the other hand, you have a core message and then you have
Mm,
teaching points around that core message, then it's easier to pull from your life the story that aligns with the teaching point.
I love that. Yes,
And you may never say the teaching point,
right. But you know what
but
they are.
and so now you've chosen, and that also helps if you're trying to write a nonlinear narrative and have it hold together.
My brain just had like a little frizzle out, and now I want to try writing a novel with
A
your
novel?
structure underpinning it. Yes.
Okay, well, let me know how that goes.
See?
I don't,
Exciting, eh?
but yeah, I don't think you really. I don't know how you could do that, but I bet you'll figure it out.
I want to try. I want to try. But I do.
Well,
I think that could work really beautifully for the memoir, at least. I'm definitely believing the memoir part because it
well,
will
but
bring out the parts that you're focusing on.
Well, yeah, especially if you're a newbie. So you have a memoir coming out, right? I know because I've been
Yeah.
listening to your, yeah. Which we can't, can we order it yet? Because I feel like
Yeah,
people
you can
only,
go to it's out now only on my Shopify, and then it'll be out everywhere probably in about a month, but rachelherron.com slash unstuck. You can get it.
okay, I'm excited to read that.
Thanks.
And so you know what to do with a memoir, but a newbie is so overwhelming because they don't know what part of their story to tell. And so this is an easy way to get at it by aligning it with teaching point. But if you do it with fiction, you have to tell me because I don't know how that would work. Although, I mean, we always have a central question we're answering in fiction.
Exactly, exactly. I
Hmm.
honestly think I could use it as, I'm always trying to trick myself into doing more and better writing. And
giving myself a background assignment that hopefully would not show at all. I think is,
Yes.
and I'm in the process right now of exploring my brain for what is going to be the next novel. I have a witchy novel coming out next year, from Hachette, but I don't have one to follow it up. I haven't figured out what it's going to be. So this could trick me into getting into it. Okay, I just love everything you do. Can you tell us about your writing process nowadays? Like where does it fit into your life? How do you do it? Also, I really, really want to know about the post-its behind you, but if that you want
Oh,
to circle back to get there.
sure. Well, I'll just tell you that's an outline for a book behind me. So
Fabulous.
when I outline, it's not rocket science, and I honestly I didn't invent it. We all have the index cards, post-it note deal.
Mhm.
But for me, I have to see the outline. So it's different colors for types of content, stories, research, action steps, teaching points, sometimes a contextual model, depends. And then I just can eyeball it once it's up there. I can move things around and I can tell when I have too much pink and too much blue and
Mhm.
where I might need something. And then when I'm actively working, I will go grab a post-it. Seriously, I'm so outlined in a nonfiction that it's my own paint by number. So I made the paint by number. It's no one else's formula. It's their template. It's
Yeah.
mine. But it's just I need to not think about where it goes.
Yeah.
And so the best way I can do that is to get that all sorted in advance. And then I grab a post-it just based on what I feel like writing that day. And then I put it where it goes and I move on. But that's why the Post-its are there,
I
'cause
love
I
that.
need a visual.
And where does writing fit in your life right now? How do you get it done? Can you tell us a little bit
I
about like what you might be balancing or juggling right now in terms of writing?
so much. So
I bet. I'm not surprised.
I teach and I write a bunch of stuff that's not for books, whether it's marketing or newsletters or whatever. I'm sure you know all about that. So that's challenging. I love all of it. Everything I do is really fun. But when I'm actively working on getting the first draft done, that's usually contained. I'm not a person who says I must write every day, no matter what's happening. But once I know, okay, I need to write this book now, then I map it out and I always write in the mornings and I try to do about 4 to 6:30 a.m.
Mhm.
because I like,
Wow. Okay, that's
well,
early.
I'm in perimenopause and I'm up anyway. So I'm not stressed to wake up at 4.
Yeah.
I'm probably already awake.
Yeah.
So I just get up and work. I make literally walk a few steps to my office and then I stop at 6:30 so I can have coffee with my wife because I like to do that. And and then I can do my day without worrying that I didn't get my writing done.
Mm. Do you go to
And
bed
I'm
early?
yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah, absolutely. But that's really important to me. I don't like the stress of feeling like I didn't hit my word count because for
Yeah.
me, I have to just once I've done all the development, I have to just think about word count. It's how I keep my inner critic trolls at bay.
Me
So
too.
that's me, and I do a bunch of math and I pad it. So in fact, I just did it. I was recording a podcast with Mike Michalowicz today. We have one called "Don't Write That Book." Um,
I did not
and
know about this.
oh,
Oh,
I would have
oh
loved for
my
you to.
God. Yes. Yes. I'm gonna like be your biggest fans now. I'm gonna be number
Well,
one
Mike,
podcast
this
listener on Spotify Wrapped.
okay. So Mike and I, all we do is talk to each other.
Love it.
So we don't interview
Yeah.
uh, anyone. And today we recorded a podcast. We're starting a new book, and we instead of working it out in a phone call, we worked it out on the podcast of what's going to be our timing. And I have my calculator out because I always do this. We need to deliver
Ah,
60,000 per the contract. Okay, I'll
uh-huh.
plan for 70 because I will pad it because of all
And
of the
you'll work
words I have to cut.
backwards from the deadline.
Which are the
But
dates I can't write? When am
mhm.
I on vacation? Where is there room for creative, pop-ups, little fun things that change the book? So I'll think of all that and then figure out my word count for the day. And I only do Monday through Friday unless I'm on a deadline and I screwed up and I have more to make up. So
Yeah, me too. I try to keep it out of my weekends as much as possible, unless
what do you
I
do
have
what do you do on the
screwed up.
weekends then?
I think about writing and I stress about writing, but I have don't laugh, but I've recently picked up cross stitching. Again, have done it since I was like 14. I'm working on a 60,000 cross stitch. It's got 60,000 crosses in it. It's full of dragons. It's like a meter square.
Did
And
you
I'm
just start with that?
40% done with it. And I started it like a month ago. It's supposed to take me 3 years. That's all I do. That's all I do.
Okay.
I listen to audiobooks and stitch on that. And I swim. But that's about it. I don't do anything
That
else.
actually sounds great.
It's great. It's the best.
That sounds awesome. I used to do embroidery. I think about taking that up again, but I think I need to get better glasses.
You,
You know,
these are,
old
yeah,
eyes.
I've got 3. I'm using 3s for just the embroidery. Just,
And like a lamp
nice.
probably too, right?
I have an art lamp. Yes. The perfect
Okay.
like daylight light. Yes. See? And now people are listening like, God, I don't want to be a writer. What do you do on the weekends?
I'm so good now, but I used to be terrible. I used to just work all the time. And now I just try and I'd have little adventures with my wife and
How old is
we
your
love,
kid now?
he's
Are they out?
19.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got his
So
own life.
yeah, we get to go. We get to go do
Yeah.
things. So one of our favorite things is we find a new bookstore that's within maybe 2 hour drive. We live in New York, so that could be Connecticut or Pennsylvania or Massachusetts. It could be anywhere on the East Coast. And we drive to it and
That's
listen
the
to tunes.
cutest thing I ever heard.
Yeah, we
That's like,
explore the bookstore and the town and just have a fun little half day thing.
oh my God. I live in New Zealand, which is absolutely amazing, but I live in Wellington and there's one way out, basically. You go north and you can't go south because we're at the bottom of the North Island. So, and there's no bookstores up. There are a few, but that's such a great little toodle on the weekend.
Yeah,
That's,
we just have fun. We just do
that's
little
beautiful.
things. I'm so happy to have just a peaceful time, you know?
Yeah.
We've been together 28 years, so in 20
Wow.
in 28 years, you could we were babies. We were 23 when we got together.
Yeah.
You have a lot of stuff happen in that amount of time. So I find that we just like having quiet and peace because,
Isn't
that's
that
earned.
nice?
Yeah,
I've been with my partner for 20 years now. And so both you and I were getting married way back before we could
yeah,
get legally married.
totally.
So,
And
but
I always say, I love it when I say that. I've been married. So we have our 26th wedding anniversary this month. It's July when we're recording this. And I always just say that. And you can tell when people say, "Oh,
yes.
congratulations," versus, "How did you do that?" Like,
Yes.
I don't know, man. I've been faithful and monogamous for 28 years and I wore a white dress and there there was friends and cake and I don't know. I don't know what's different about this
I
than your
just wrote,
situation.
where did I? Oh, I wrote, this is in the author's note that my editor asked me to write for it's a queer witchy romance. And I talk about, I'm just going to say this really quickly. So my wife was widowed before she married me.
Hmm.
And her wife before me, there's some like little witchy moments about it, but I was talking about our wedding and how her first wife was the first person we invited to the wedding. We held a seat for her at the wedding. And I talk
Oh,
about how our officiant, we asked one of our really good friends to marry us. And she comes back and she was queer. She's just adorable. She came back to us. She goes, okay, I got the license. I ordered a way for it. I got it from the state. It's one of those, like, I'm a church of somebody. I'm like, Jody, you don't need a license because you can't marry us. It's not legal.
it's
She's
not
like,
legal.
oh crap, you're right.
Yeah,
But yeah. Okay, so we wandered very far away.
we wandered.
What tools do you like to use? Are you a scrivener person? Are you keeping track of your words in pacemaker? Do you have any like little things like that? Or are you just like whatever works?
Listen, I have to keep it simple, man. So if I have to learn, I just can't. And I've had too many students come to me with Scrivener. No offense, Scrivener, awesome if it's working for you. I got nothing
It's
against it.
so hard. So many of the things in it are quite hard to use.
The last thing I want for my students is for them to learn a software program
Yes.
while they learn to write a book and then also write it. That's 3 major things happening at the same time.
Mhm.
And I spend, even though I'm teaching craft, honestly, it's like 80% of the time just trying to keep people in the game. Just keep them in the game. Keep them coming back, keep them turning
Yeah.
out words. And so I don't want to add complexity
Yeah.
to that. For me personally, Microsoft Word, I just use the navigation system. I use my headers so I can easily see things. Uh,
I learned how to do that this year, by the way. PS. I didn't even
isn't
know it
it
was in there.
great?
I
Oh
had
my
no
God.
clue. It's so good.
You know what? I have a student who uses it like this. So if you're listening, all you have to do is go to the review tab and you can, or actually on the home tab, you can add your headers, 1, 2, whatever. And then in the review tab, you can go to the navigation panel.
Oh
And
yeah.
on the left-hand side, it shows you your whole book and every single chapter, subchapter section. You could do this for fiction if you wanted to label it, but I have a student who not only, she took it another step further, she puts the percentage done for each section in the header itself. So when she eyeballs it, she can see it says 50% done, 90% done, and then she knows
Wow.
where to go.
That is super smart. Okay,
That,
that's a tech
that's,
tip right there.
I
It's a
know
word tech tip.
I'm not doing that, but I use Word. I use a yellow legal pad and a pen. Um, I use the Notes app on my phone for just rando things that come
Yeah.
in. That's Post-its. I love a Post-it. I could
I'm
keep
a
3M in business.
Me too. I am a post-it. I worship at the altar of 3M. Yes. I will say in terms of Scrivener, now I'm always working on like what's the next memoir? What's the next project I'm working on? And as I've been thinking about different things, and I've got a couple of more nonfiction in the tank. I've got a bunch of books that are kind of like above above the runway right now. But now in my Scrivener, there's a section that is like it just says AJ Harper because that's where I've gone in. That's my AJ Harper file.
What?
And I've answered all the questions. I've got all of,
Oh
my
yeah.
core message, like that is where I've gone in and thought it all through. So I wanted to share that with you. You come with me in my
Oh, I love
daily
it.
process. What may I ask you, what is the most exciting thing that you've ever realized about your process?
Exciting thing.
What's really cool about your process?
I think I am a very systematic. So you should know, by the way, when I write fiction, I'm a total pantser.
What?
So it's the
Okay.
complete opposite.
I
Com-
Why do you
Complete
keep
opposite.
breaking my brain? I thought that we were all like more on this side of the spectrum or that side of the spectrum, but I don't know if I've ever talked to anybody who is on both.
I'm on both.
Okay,
Yeah.
so so tell me all about that. Just go wherever you want to go with that.
Well, I write mostly nonfiction now, so everybody sees me as a very, so I love that I'm a systematic person. I have an editing methodology that's in my book. I don't know if you've gotten to it yet.
Oh, yes.
That also comes from having OCD because that's my checklist. So now you
Yeah.
know what's behind that.
Love
But
that.
it actually, it's very exciting because what it does for me and for the students I teach is just break it down into manageable things to think about one at a time and do these laser surgical edits versus a page one, word one
Which,
edit where you don't know what the
yes,
heck, how you're supposed to think about all of it.
where they're trying to take a zero draft or a first draft to perfect
Hmm.
in one go. Yeah, I love that. It's a very similar methodology to the one that I teach. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I just call it
Oh,
passes, but
yeah.
but it's like it's that laser
Um,
focused on a thing, one at a time. This
what,
passes for this. This passes just for seeing if your character's actions make sense. That's it. Nothing else.
oh
You're not
my
looking at
gosh,
anything.
I love it.
Yep.
Where I have a
Yep.
kindred.
I
So
know.
how many passes do you have?
So I teach. We talk about like three or four, depending on how much of a pantser you were in the first draft. 3 or 4 main drafts that
Okay.
hold some really big ideas that we take time with.
Yeah.
Like, does your do the plot points makes sense. We call it the make sense draft. And then the next draft is called the makes more sense draft because we can't get it all. But then the little passes, we have a list of passes, and I think it's up to about 20 or 25
Okay.
little things that people could focus on. But I make it really clear that most people won't do all of these. You're going to go in and find your things that you need to focus
Yes.
on, that you're not good at, or you don't feel comfortable with. And then you're going to go do a
Yes.
pass on that. And this pass could take you 2 hours to do it in the entire book, or it could take you 2
Or
months.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or some people combine. Some people can have 3 post-its on their computer,
Yes.
and I'm doing a descriptive setting and a descriptive character and a little bit of look at dialogue tags, and that's all I'm doing with this pass. But it's like it's a choose your own adventure, but it's a don't try to fix your book to good. That's impossible. Impossible. Sorry, I just preached at
I'm
you.
so happy that I know you, because I've not known anyone who gets this.
This is why I freaked out when I read your book. I freaked out.
So, oh my gosh. So I have 17 passes, but some of them have passes within passes.
Yes.
So like I talk about
Talk about how you do it. Yeah.
Okay, well, one example. So there's 17 passes. Incidentally, you can get that whole pass list for free on writeamustread.com. So you don't have to buy my book to get it. It's just there. You can go grab it.
And that gets you on the mailing list, hopefully.
No, you can just grab it.
AJ, get them on your mailing list.
I know. I know. I want them to just take it. I don't want anybody to feel like there has to be an exchange. Just go get the thing.
Okay,
just go get
perfect.
the thing. All
I
right.
will link
So
to it.
anyway, there's 17 passes that I've worked out over the years, and this is for nonfiction. One of them that has has passes under passes. See, you're the only person who's not gonna get upset with me for saying. Everybody's like, "What the hell are you asking me to do?" I will say though that my authors who do this, their editors at their publishing houses respond to them with, "What the hell is going on here?" They've never seen a manuscript like this. They're just, then they get to do their job though,
Then
because
they don't have to worry.
cleaning.
Yes.
They're not
Yes.
cleaning the whole house. It's not like, on HGTV, it's like the house, it looks like no one's lived in it for 30 years, and there's like garbage and vandalism, and don't open the fridge. It's all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's sometimes what a manuscript is like, and you can't see what the house could be renovated to be because you need 3 dumpsters first.
I
And
love that analogy. Yes.
I'm just saying that now. I need to
It's
use that
so
again.
good. Yes.
But here's a pass within a pass. So I talk about immutable laws and characteristics, and all it means is the immutable laws for your nonfiction book would be, my book must be disruptive against conventional wisdom, or my book must be doable, or my book must be short, right? Or, so these are the book itself. Then there's your qualities as an author. My book must feel like, right? For Mike, it's arm over the shoulder. That's I have a pass for all of Mike Michalowicz's books called the arm over the shoulder pass.
Oh, I have a
'Cause
Mr. Rogers pass because my voice
yes,
is cozy and helpful. And even if I've been stern, I do a Mr. Rogers pass that also says you can do it, because I do believe that. And I'm proud of you.
yes, Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers pass is a great term for it.
Yeah.
And so if you have clarity, and you shouldn't have 15 things on the list, you should just condense.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have clarity about these immutable laws and characteristics, and it should be, if you're a nonfiction writer, this should be across all books. It's not just book 1. It's really thinking about how you show up as an author. But once you do that, then Mr. Rogers pass or arm over the shoulders pass is its own pass. And so is doable. And so is disruptive. So that's why I say there's passes under passes.
And the cool thing about this is that you can have these in mind when you're writing, but when you're doing that first draft, you don't have to worry about doing it beautifully, correctly, getting this to be, this chapter is not going to be perfect. I know I'm going to come back. Am I doing as much arm over the shoulder as I need? Who cares? I'm going to look at that later.
100%. And over time, if you are writing additional books, a lot of it you'll just integrate, and your pass won't take that long,
Exactly. Yes.
So that's the other thing I love about that I tell my students, which I didn't mention. I don't know if I said this in my book. I actually have to look. You can add passes based on what your nasty inner critic troll says to you. So I
Oh, I
don't
love
do this.
this.
I don't do this thing where I pretend like they're wrong. The inner critic troll is wrong. I'm just like, all right, you say boring, um, silly, useless, whatever, flat. That would be a big one that would really get my goat if my troll said, "You're so flat."
Mm-hmm.
I don't ignore it. I jot it down and then I just do a flat pass.
And what you're doing, I love this so much because I am of the school that believes our inner critic, again, it's one of those things that not only does it not go away, it just gets better at its job, and it knows it's like, you know, the cruelest aunt you've ever had, how she just gets better at getting your goat the older you get. But also I believe that that inner voice, that critic is just trying to keep us safe. It loves us and it wants us to do a good job. So when you're doing this, you're saying to this inner critic, I hear you. I see you, I honor you, and I am going to take care of that. I'm not going to do it right now, but I've got you. I've got it on my post-it here. I've got you coming back for you. That is, why have I never thought of this? That is genius.
I don't know. You're much nicer to your inner critic troll. Clearly, you just had a great Mr. Rogers conversation with your inner. I have them all in a jar. You can't see it here. I'll lift this up. Up at the
Oh,
top
there's
there,
jars up there. Yes.
I have a jar with trolls trap. There's about 200 of them in there. They're like the little troll dolls, and they represent the nasties. I'm not nice to them, but I will say I'm taking the note. Thank you so much for taking the note.
Thank you
Now
so much. I'm taking the note.
go
And you're going
away.
up there where I
We'll
can't
see
hear
it.
you. They're
Yep,
screaming
and
in
we'll see
there.
you tomorrow. Is because that's what Steve Pressfield taught me through his book, The
Yes.
War of Art.
Love
The
that
best
book.
thing he taught me was I'm two best things in that book, The War of Art. It's not your fault because resistance is a law of the universe.
Yes.
That
It's
was
not your
game changer.
voice. You didn't make that up. It comes to all of
No.
us and it says the same damn things.
And the second part was it comes back.
Yep.
And that was because I was raking myself over the coals. Why can't I kill this? And now I know my inner critics are zombies. So they just keep coming back. So I just like, thank you for the note. I'll see you tomorrow.
And then the
But
next
you're
day you're
nice.
like, I still have the post-it.
Yep. Yep. Working on this one. But I do pants as a fiction writer. So blow your mind. I didn't realize that was going to blow your mind, but.
That absolutely blows my mind. And then what is your editing? How does your editing process differ? How does it feel different? How do you do it when you're editing fiction?
Oh, I gotta tell you, editing fiction for me is much harder. It's much harder because I think it's because I pants.
Yeah,
But I
because you're
like
making a
to
bigger
pants,
mess.
but I want to,
Me too. It's the only way I can do fiction myself.
I
Exactly.
like finding out what's gonna happen. I like not knowing everything. And if I know how it all works, I probably won't finish it. So for me, it's a lot of I play because I was a playwright, I always start with character. And it's like I'm trying to find out the part of their life I want to tell,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to I don't fit characters into plots. Instead I get to know a character that sort of becomes fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to play around and see what part of their story we should talk about.
That it's a good thing we don't live closer to each other because we'd have to spend more time. I'd be
But
stopping
do
you
you
for
have like
coffee.
WhatsApp or something?
I
Like
do.
WhatsApp?
Let's WhatsApp
Or
it up
yeah,
after
I
this.
need yes.
Because right now so the book that's coming out next year from Hachette, there's this one character that she's almost never on the screen. She's like a Hollywood psychic. And we hear excerpts at the top of each chapter. There's an excerpt from something she's said on Good Morning America, or talking to the Queer Eye guys. Actually, I don't even think that one's in there, but it should be. And she fascinated me. So that's the book I'm playing with now. I know nothing about her, and I'm just turning her around in my mind and like, where was she
Yeah.
and where was she then? And I'm going in that way, and I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh my gosh, it's
So
so exciting. I love
may,
that.
may I ask you, what is the kindest thing you've ever done for yourself as a writer?
Oh, Give up ghostwriting.
Wow. What did that give you, giving it up?
First of all, I did it for 10 years, and because I was a playwright, I'm convinced now that the reason I could do it so well with voice, because the reason
Mhm.
people wanted me mostly was because no one could tell they had a ghost. And I, as a result, lost my own.
Oh, I have wondered if that could be a dangerous side effect, if not.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And writing Write a Must Read was actually pretty horrifying the first probably 4 or 5 months, because it just it either sounded like Mike Michalowicz, or it sounded like whatever. I didn't even
Mhm.
know. Or just the most boring, AI inspired, or AI
That's nightmarish. Yeah.
article. That's why I said that flat troll. That's
Yeah.
really gets me, because it was flat. It was either kind of like him, but also me, and I couldn't find it. It was really
Mhm.
scary. I thought maybe it wouldn't come back, but it did. And to clarify for your listeners, although I retired from ghostwriting, it's gonna be about 8 years now. I write collaboratively with Mike Michalowicz now.
Mhm.
Um, so that I mean, technically there's some ghostwriting, but it's more like a partnership in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't ghost anymore, and but it took us so long. It was very hard. It was emotionally really difficult to lose my voice.
What a good thing to have gone out looking for and find and reclaim. Well
You
done.
know, thank you. It was hard to give myself. I didn't think of it as a kindness until you just asked me, but nobody thought I should do it except my wife. So
Mm.
everybody was, why are you doing this? Who gets paid what you get paid? Who gets to work with the people you work with? What are you gonna do? And it was so bad that I actually didn't know what I was gonna do. We get to that burnout stage
Mhm.
where now we don't even have a plan, and we're
Mhm.
just looking for the parachute. Wherever we land is wherever we land. I'm gonna go sling coffee. I'm gonna go whatever. I'll milk cows. I don't
Mhm.
know.
Just not
Thankfully,
this. Yeah.
just not this. So anyway, I've found my way, but the
Yeah, you were
voice thing is
getting
hard.
paid to disappear. You're getting
Yeah.
paid good. I have a friend who's struggling with the same thing right now, and she's been ghosting a long time, and she's very good at it, and she's she's tired of that. And but what you've done is you've come back. You know where you are, and you know your
Yeah.
voice, and we get to hear it. And might I add that since I have it up right now, you have 242 ratings on Amazon, because that's the one that's in front of me, but like 4.9 out of 5. That is 4.9. I like to look
Thank
at the
you.
stars. That is incredible. And obviously it just changed the way that I think about writing, especially the reader first principles. Can you please, I know we're way over time here. Um, can you please tell us what is the best way to find you and to be in contact with you, as well as, of course, buying Write a Must Read?
Thank you. Yes, or get it from your library.
Yes, love it.
AJHarper.com is just the easiest way. And I'm just starting a Substack, which is Write a Must Read. And I don't quite have it live yet, but it will be maybe by the time this is live.
Yep, this will come out in
And
about 6 weeks, probably. So
yeah,
that
it'll be
might
like,
be
yeah. So
great.
Write a Must Read on Substack. I give on Fridays, I give a bunch of tips, writing tips that you can do quickly, writing, editing, and marketing tips, one of each. So if you join my mailing list, you can get that. That's free. But yeah,
And then the
come.
podcast is called Don't Write That
Oh my
Book.
God. I didn't think I was gonna like doing this, but yeah, it's called Don't Write That Book. And it's Mike and I trying to encourage, we talk about every aspect of publishing, writing, editing, marketing, negotiation, everything, but through the lens of let's write the best book we can. Let's not do this check a box thing.
Yeah.
Let's be authors now.
I cannot wait to listen. Thank you so much for being on the show. This has meant so very much to me, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have been here.